Wild West was an exciting and dangerous place, full of hope, new beginnings, and the perfect place for outlaws to cash in on unsuspecting townfolk. We all know the stories of Billy the Kid, Jesse James, or Butch Cassidy, but what about the female representation? Although they lived rough and hard, these gunslingers had lovers, friends, and gang members who were incredible women. Two of these women earned nicknames involving a rose. Let's look at how they ended up involved with these outlaws and what happened to earn them their places in the history books. First up, her nickname was Rose of Cimarron. In a small town in Oklahoma, a beautiful baby girl was born. Rose grew up in a poor family with 4 older brothers. As it always is with older brothers, she tried to keep up with them, riding horses, learning rope tricks, and, of course, mastering a weapon. With a limited amount of education at a convent in Kansas, Rose grew into a stunning, capable young woman. However, her brothers were now running with outlaws. Of course, this set the stage for her next step in life. Rose is around 15 years old, beautiful with a great personality. She meets and becomes involved with an outlaw gang member thanks to the social circles her brothers run with. Enter the picture 27-year-old George Bitter Creek Newcomb. Now, George has been in the game since he was 12 years old. Like Rose, he was born into a poor family, worked the land, before converting to the outlaw life. Young George had been involved with the Dalton gang. They had a train robbery under their belt, plenty of cheating on each other, shootouts, and dead townfolk. George is now, after a few changes by Dalton, is running with the infamous Wild Bunch gang, and this is around the time he met Rose. Now, George was smitten with her. In fact, the whole gang could not get enough of her. Every member was incredibly protective. Now, feelings ran both ways, and Rose was completely taken with this wild outlaw called George. George was a wanted man by now, unable to show his face in public. Do you think this made the romance all the more exciting? Only able to meet in secret, tell no one where you're going? It must have been thrilling for Rose since previously all she'd known was the Catholic convent life. It's around this time that Rose's brothers take leave of the outlaw life and become bounty hunters. They rebrand themselves the Dunn Brothers. As new lawmen, they begin chasing down the men they once shared drinks with. But their little sister Rose is just getting in too deep now. As Rose has an innocent and gorgeous face, plus not being known as an outlaw, she begins working for the gang. Small errands here and there, ensuring they have food and supplies. Did she live at home and rendezvous with George whenever he passed by? So many questions. A couple of years pass by, it's now 1895, and of course, George and his gang are involved in a shootout. This time, George and the remaining members hide out in Norman, Oklahoma. Right now, the Wild Bunch is public enemy number 1. As it transpired, 2 of the deputy marshals passed away from the shootout. A large sum of money's up for grabs. A $5,000 bounty is placed on their heads, including George's. They're wanted, dead or alive. Not long after this, George decides to visit Rose at home. For this visit, George wasn't alone. He was with a fellow outlaw named Pierce. Arriving in front of the house after a dusty ride, he was looking forward to a cold drink and a smile with Rose. The 2 men were shot as they dismounted their horses. It appeared the Dunn brothers had been tracking them for a while. Sadly, Rose not only had to witness her lover's tragedy, but it was done by the hands of her own family. People later claimed that she'd set George up and was in it with her brothers for the money, but this was proven false as the brothers denied her involvement. After being in love, aiding and abetting one of the famous outlaws, Rose went on to marry a local politician, Charles Noble. She ended up leaving Oklahoma at some stage and having a long life. She did remarry a 3rd time to a man she'd known since she was 16, Richard Fleming. I wonder if he reminded her of her younger days that were filled with love, passion, and excitement. Our second rose is Laura Bullion. Funny enough, she's also involved with the Wild Bunch gang, but in a far more serious way than Rose Dunn. Laura was born into the farming life, probably from Texas, but it turns out her dad had an outlaw lifestyle in history, and it would repeat itself with Laura. As you can imagine, it was not long before the 15-year-old Laura was running with the Wild Bunch gang and is romantically involved with a member by the name of Ben Kilpatrick, aka the Tall Texan. Laura was every bit an outlaw. She was stone cold when she needed, and was an enterprising young woman who always managed to turn a profit. Laura, due to her chiseled masculine features, was able to either wear a suit or a dress, which proved a real benefit for the gang. Her nickname was Rose of the Wild Bunch, or Della Rose, which she used as an alias. In fact, Laura had many names she liked to use. She had many reasons to keep her identity secret, as she's always evading the law for train robberies, shop theft, or even prostitution. Ben and Laura were eventually caught by the law for a train robbery. Both went to prison and served time. Laura did, however, get out much earlier than Ben. Laura went on to have several other relationships with various members in the Wild Bunch gang. She did stay in touch with Bill via letters, but he passed away during a train robbery gone wrong. By now, it's 1912, and the Wild Bunch gang is pretty much disbanded due to the tightening circle of the law and the lack of new members. After the excitement of gang life, Laura had to now set herself up with a new life. How hard that must have been to suddenly integrate yourself back into a normal, law-abiding society. In 1918, Laura moved to Memphis, where she set herself with a colorful backstory as to why she was a single female. Let's just say she still managed to use her old tricks, as she used fake names, dead husband aliases, and various dates of birth to set up her new life. But all said and done, she did put in honest work and mastered several roles: a seamstress, a householder, and later in life, an interior designer in drapery and dressmaker. In the end, Laura was talented with the needle and had an eye for design. Of course, no quick, fast cash revenue streams as she aged, which meant Laura's income dwindled, causing her to move around, each time to a cheaper abode. After such an incredibly colorful life, Laura the Della Rose would pass away as the last surviving member of the Wild Bunch gang. Her grave marker reads, Frida Bullion Lincoln, Laura Bullion, the Thorny Rose, 1876 to 1961.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.